Hello, everyone. Welcome to It's Sybil. I am Sybil Wilkes, and welcome in to Damon Williams, comedian extraordinaire, and to Khameron Riley, political contributor. How are you both?
Fantastic.
Feeling pretty good. How's it going, Sybil? How's it going, Damon?
Hey, man.
So, what is going on? Have you guys been out enjoying the weather? Are you busy working? What's going on?
Yeah, I mean, my family just moved from the Roseville neighborhood to West Chesterfield, so that's still on the southeast side of Chicago, right across the street from a beautiful park. And I've been sort of out making my way around, walking at the park district. I ran into a park director who used to run summer camp for me back when I was way little.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
that was a very serendipitous meeting. And now she is like the area director of like 20 different parks. So
So
she's
why
worked
was
her
it
way
why
up.
was it serendipitous?
Well, I was making my way over there to see which ways that I could get involved in, like, youth programming, and seeing which ways I could volunteer to help out the park.
Oh, nice.
And then I was telling them that I had went to Skinner Park. I went to Skinner Elementary School, and then the park attendant said, you went to Skinner Park? Hold on a second." And usually when someone says, "Hold on a second," and they go into a back room, I usually prepare to leave.
Right.
But
They may come out with a warrant for you or something.
yes, exactly. But the person who came out ran a very tight ship, and she has worked her way up as far as you can go in the Chicago Park District system. Unfortunately, she's retiring, so they're about to lose a very phenomenal woman. But thanks to her, I mean, me and my siblings always had some place safe to go during the summer.
Oh, great that you were able to make that connection. That's awesome. I went to Oakdale Park day camp for a while, and right off of 95th Street. And but the camp that I talked about one time on the Joyner Show was Little Bear Day Camp, run by the Drapers. And and I could still recite at one point the song, but I won't do that. I won't harm you with those lyrics and the singing today. But it does bring back great memories of day camp and all the things. And it seemed like that it was hotter then than it is now, until I got to Texas. Those days of just it's keeping us outside in the sun, and we did have some swimming and stuff like that, but for the most part, it was just they just kept us running all day long.
Yeah, to the point where once your parents came to get you, all you could do was pass out.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Damon, did you have days of day camp?
I did. I actually had a day camp more experience in Indianapolis a couple times when I would go down there for the summer with my family.
Mm-hmm.
I used to play in Oakdale Park. I still have scars to prove that.
Really?
Yeah, definitely. Oakdale was the spot, even though Oakdale was across the tracks from us. So it was, it was trepidation. It was a little issue sometimes. I couldn't get the word out, but
no, but I knew where you were going. Right. Yeah,
because that's the Wacker kids, and we were the Wendell Green kids, so they were rivals.
Yeah.
But I was until he said she was retiring, I was going to ask Khameron if she held up nicely.
I thought that too.
Yes. First of all, yes.
Yeah, I'm about to say, you're a grown man now.
I thought about it. It crossed my mind. I didn't see a ring on the finger. I was like, oh,
Ew.
Because I still have one teacher. If I ever see her, she still could get it if I was single. It's sort of like timeless beauty. Like you feel like if you ran into I don't know, Linda Carter from Wonder Woman, or I Dream of Jeannie, they could still get it, or Pam Grier for sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
But I was wondering about your little camp counselor.
Your little camp counselor.
Yeah, your little camp counselor. Because she could have been like a teen or whatever back then, and now you caught up.
Now she could get it.
She's like, look at you look at all that beard and shoulders, young man.
Look who's all grown up.
Right, look, you got all that beard and shoulders. Khameron.
Oh, that's fun. Good times talking about that. All right, let's take a look at the What You Need to Know newsletter. And that is our absolutely free newsletter to subscribe. Please go to SybilWilkes.com, give us your name and your email address, and we'll have it in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. And we have great stories that super serve the African American community, really pertain to our people and written by our people. And Khameron Riley is one of those people. And Khameron, tell me it ain't so. A free lunch. It really means no free lunch.
Yeah, Sybil, Damon, and I got to ask you, when you all were coming up in the school system, did you all get reduced or free lunch? I know my mom and my mom fought hard for all of my sisters and I to get reduced lunch because it goes a long way. Nowadays, children who don't qualify for reduced or free lunch almost have to pay $5 a day for meals because due to inflation, the price of certain items have just skyrocketed. The cost of pears cost 24% more. The cost of those hamburger patties, if you could call them that,
Yeah, if you
went up
call
to
it, and
about
it was mystery meat, wasn't it? In a
yeah,
lot of respects.
that Salisbury steak.
Ooh.
The the price of that has gone up 21%. And cereal, not the cereal, is up almost about 9%. So on June 30th, Congress didn't renew the universal free lunches, which was a COVID era policy to feed our children who were really going through it economically. And this shock, this sudden cutoff, and mind you, Sybil, they waited until June 30th to cut the policy off.
The
So
last day.
yeah, the very last day. So the shock to the system has really have us examining what food justice looks like. And if Joe Biden is saying he's planning to end hunger by the year 2030, well, the food crisis is now. Lots of
Yeah.
children do not have access to nutritious meals, and uh, these
And
children.
so Khameron, that's where I wanted you to make that jump, because you did, these are two separate stories for you, talking about the free lunch in one issue, and in this current issue, talking about Joe Biden's plan to end hunger, which I find it just doesn't make any sense. If you are allowing the free lunch program, and Lord knows we desperately need that now, how are you going to do this with your plan to end hunger? Because taking away kids' food, and in some cases, the only meals they get during the day, if you're taking that or allowing Congress to take that away, how are you going to end hunger in 7 years?
Right. This is a very bold stroke by Joe Biden, another like massive plan that is in the midst of some injustice. We Now there are certain local districts like the Detroit Public School District who has chosen to extend it, but let's also recall the fact that schools are in a state of economic hardship right now, and the way that they recoup those costs is by upping the charge on some of these lunches. But as you said, Sybil, this is sometimes the only meal that students get throughout the day. And I know from my work in the community that that kids come to school off of pop and flaming hots and whatever, and they're starving by the time class is over. They can't pay attention, they can't focus, and then you know what they do? They start acting up. And then when they start acting up, they get put out of class, and then that is a quick segue to whatever awaits them out on the streets.
Wow. And you talk about in the story about kids and the meals at school. You talk about how people recognized it back in the day. I mean, you even mentioned the Black Panther Party and their effort for meals at the schools or in community centers and other folks. And now it's really incumbent upon us as individuals to donate to those programs. I know that there are a couple of that I donate to. Blessings in a Backpack is one, and others to the food banks that provide food to the kids in various cities and states for kids over the summer programs. But it's on us to help them now, because as you mentioned, Congress has let the funding go out, and the president's plan, we don't know when it's going to kick in.
Yeah, and Joe Biden has had about 3 months to plan this summit on ending hunger, uh, whereas Nixon, had 6 months to plan his, and out of that summit, came food stamps and things like that. Biden's only had 3 months. And to your point, Sybil, Fannie Lou Hamer, the Black Panther Party, they were way ahead of the game when it came to food justice, when it came to getting our kids fed. That's how we make competitive and nourished minds. This is how we show our kids that we care about them too.
Damon, I can't imagine. It just breaks my heart. That's just the bottom line. And once again, politics getting in the way of taking care of our future.
I mean, our values in this country are so skewed and unjust. I mean, just the other day I was watching, I think it was yesterday, where somebody just paid $12 million for Mickey Mantle's baseball card.
Right.
A worthless piece of picture paper, $12 million, but we can't feed our children. This is the richest country on earth, allegedly. There should never be a hungry child in America under any circumstances. Now, unless you was like me, I would take my lunch money. I would get lunch money, but I'd buy a honey bun and Sprite and use the rest to buy weed.
Oh my God. How old?
This was high school. But or we would take our money. We would hooked on video games, and we would play Space Invaders with our whole lunch money. But today, though, in all seriousness, people can't afford it. So $5 a day, that's $100 a month into someone's budget that probably was already tight. Not to mention all of the school supplies on the list that they have now for children compared to what it used to be, and things that were free and provided. I mean, I don't know. We're spiraling out of control. And this country, we got to do better. And I think, the people that have the resources, it's not incumbent upon them, but I think we need to go back, and even if you don't have school-age children, and see what a school needs or what a particular teacher needs, and adopt a classroom or do something of that nature, because we can't depend on government anymore. It's just that simple. It's obvious.
I agree with you. And I was thinking about that, Khameron and Damon, when I was working on a story about the water crisis in the city of Jackson, Mississippi. And in my mind, I have a friend of the family who is in Jackson, and I'm calling her every day, see how she's doing. Her son is out of the country right now, and she's good, but I'm thinking about all those people who are not good. And so I started thinking, okay, so if we find people in Alabama and we find people in Georgia, maybe we can have a caravan and send water down, immediately as the state is getting prepared to have these water distribution centers, because there are a lot of people, our elderly included, who can't get to the Walmarts or the other big shop stores and get to this water, because they have been without, in a lot of cases, for a month now, because of whatever they call it, but a cloudiness in the water. This has been going on since they had an emergency order on July 30th. And so all of these things, our water crisis, our hunger and our homeless crises, it never ends, but we've got to, it's on us to, like you say, Damon, to adopt a family, to adopt a classroom, to adopt a block, a city, whatever it is we can do to help people. And I feel so helpless, but we got to step up and do something, right?
Yeah, and I'm sure the smallest gesture goes a long way. So, especially if, like, for instance, I don't have any school-age children, but there's a school at the corner of my block. So I see the kids going back and forth. You gotta. You can just go to the principal of any particular school and say, is there a need that you can fulfill? Just like Khameron went to that park to see if it was something he could do and volunteer. Because that's the only way we'll get.
Camps counselor.
Yeah, he'll be going back over there to see how Miss Camp Counselor is doing.
But you're right. I digress, but you're absolutely right. We can go see. Yeah. All right. There's just so much to be done, and it is overwhelming. But one step at a time, and let's all try to reach out and do something to help each other. I want to talk about this bad A Georgia district attorney, Fulton County, Georgia. Her name is Sybil Wilkes, and she is the one who has impaneled the grand jury, or the judge impaneled the grand jury in her investigation into Donald Trump's whatever his machinations were following the results of the Georgia general election of 2020, in which he said he only needed over 11,000 votes. He came down to the exact number, 780 votes that he needed in order to win the state of Georgia. So she has this grand jury probe that is going to go into next year and trying to subpoena a lot of people. Some people have come forward. Others are dragging their feet in regards to this. We know that last week, former mayor of New York, a Trump toady, Rudy Giuliani, was there to speak before the grand jury to answer questions. We also know that others are not as forthcoming. And Giuliani really was, I mean, he was the guy that Trump was sending into Georgia to appear before, state legislatures and other Republican groups and election groups to get this done, or to change the vote, as it were. Now they're asking, Sybil Wilkes wants to subpoena former chief of staff, Mark Meadows. She wants to also get other Trump guy, Senator Lindsey Graham, to appear before the grand jury. And he's dragging his feet. And the governor of Georgia is saying he can't do it. His lawyers went in and said, he's in the middle of a big election, and he is against, it's the repeat of the election against Stacey Abrams. And the judge said, okay, you will have to appear after the election. The election is November 8th. And once Stacey beats you, then you'll have no problem coming and appearing before the grand jury. This woman is casting a very wide net, and it appears that she has more power than, or at least it appears to have more power than even the U.S. Attorney General. The Attorney General of the United States. She is moving at what appears to be a faster pace, and calling in a lot of people to appear before this grand jury.
It's for people out there who were wondering, like, what's the point of all of these subpoenas? What's the point of all these summons? When you interrogate someone over and over and over and over and over, it allows us to keep track of the narrative, and it allows us to keep track of whether or not they can keep track of the narrative.
Right.
So it's easier for us to catch them lying. That's what we need to do. And also, when it comes to Donald Trump, we got to keep our foot on his neck. We absolutely have to.
And he was explaining that theory to the men out there, because women already knew that. So you was over Steve's house last night.
Right.
Okay.
So house
hey, where was you at last night? So you was at Steve last night, huh?
Where was I last night?
That theory was for the men who didn't know that tactic.
Yeah. And he asked it in a number of different ways to keep coming back around.
Just change the tone. So Steve, huh?
Which Steve was that?
Right. Light-skinned Steve or cross-eyed Steve?
So those are a couple of the stories. I just want to remind you that every week we also have wonderful tax tips given to us by CPA Katrina M. Kraft, and she talks to people who are buying their first home and what you need to read and what you need to do before you get into the home buying game, and giving you some tips on that. And also, Coy Malone, who is our social justice activist, gives us a story about an Alabama preacher who was arrested for watering his neighbor's flowers. You got to check this out. It's unbelievable. And Karen is not gone. Let me just say that. Karen has not disappeared. She will not go away, and will not go gentle into that good night. So those are all the things that we talk about, as well as the Little Known Black History Fact, and a good Black and fit wellness tips, and as well as the HBCU Corner. All of these things in one compact newsletter, and you can get it by subscribing. It's absolutely free. Please go to SybilWilkes.com and it will be in your email box every Monday through Friday morning. Thank you very much. Okay, so let us move, you guys, to our question of the day and ask what's really going on. Comedians are catching it, and for their jokes or their observations, even if they didn't mean it as a joke, they are getting called on the carpet. Two of the most recent examples are Ari Spears and his comments about Lizzo, the entertainer, as well as Chris Rock is now back in hot water for his comments. So first of all, the question is, what do you guys think about this, and is it fair? Because as a comedian, Damon, I think that I know that people are much more sensitive about things these days, and people do not hesitate to come for you when either social media or even sometimes in person, as we've seen people come up on stage. So is it fair? And can we not take a joke anymore? You may not like a comedian, but that's what he does. That's his First Amendment right, and to speak out. But at any rate, so that is a question for people who are watching and listening today. Is it fair, and are we too sensitive about what's happening? So Ari Spears was asked if he thought Lizzo's music was a standout in this day and age. And he, not answering that, but he pivoted, saying he can't get over the fact that she looks like an ish emoji. The poop emoji. And he said the S word, and then continued to say she has a pretty face but a terrible body. You guys, I'm not making this up. He said the praise that she and others whom he considered fat or unhealthy is ass backwards, adding if people really care, they'd send a different message to those same stars like Lizzo, one that's a bit more health conscious and honest. This coming from a man who understands the irony of it, because he's not that great looking himself and not in that great a shape. He says that he isn't in the best shape, many mocking his own looks in their response to him, and he's acknowledged that. And others are saying that, Lizzo's in great shape, seeing how she can dance, sing, play the flute, and all the things she does on stage. And they say being fat doesn't mean being unhealthy. All of these things came out of this one comment that he made, saying that she looked like an ish emoji. So number two, Chris Rock is back in hot water. He has the internet in arms over a joke he made comparing his possible return to the Oscars with Nicole Brown Simpson's murder. He was performing in Phoenix over the weekend. He reportedly told the audience coming back to host the next year's Oscars would be like asking Nicole Brown Simpson to go back to the restaurant where she ate before her murder. Some people have accused him of being misogynistic and cracking jokes at the expense of a woman, a dead woman at that. And similar to the criticism that he got, the joke about Jada Pinkett Smith.
Well, Chris,
this is a lot to unpack.
It really is. It really is.
Let's start with Chris. OJ loved that woman, and he is out. So watch your mouth. You got smacked. You don't want to get stabbed. That's a possibility. That's his baby mama. To death did them part.
Yeah.
The Ari Spears thing, though, sometimes comedians say things just to be inflammatory in the circumstance. And it's a cold world, and it's a cruel world, but it's also a more sensitive world. So you have to be aware of people's humanity. Lizzo brings a lot of attention to herself in ways that may be unfavorable at times to some people. I mean, there's one scene of her, spread eagle in a thong, and at any size, ain't nobody really asking you to do that, but especially at her size. Now, you can't fat shame, that's a hashtag group.
Yep.
So, but there's hashtag groups for everything that people are sensitive about. So you got to have tact. That's all I can say about the situation.
There's a way to craft a joke, though, right,
yeah.
Damon?
I mean, if you make a joke about Lizzo, it should be a joke that Lizzo could laugh at. That's the narrative that I subscribe to, as far as if you're speaking to a public forum. But I mean, we are all
He's still.
so it's a weird phenomenon. You
Yeah.
should be able to say whatever you want, but you should also be prepared for the consequences. That's the bottom line. The thing Chris said about I understood. He said it's like returning to the scene of the crime. Why
Hmm.
would I go back to the Oscars? That's just like if Nicole Simpson went back to the restaurant. It'd be different if Nicole was able to.
Yeah.
You know, he can go back to the Oscars. So that's where it wasn't even funny because of that reason alone. So um, I don't know. It's a cold world. We're not feeding our kids, and we can't tell jokes.
So Damon, that's a fine line. I mean, you're walking a tightrope, as it were, in terms of that. But for some reason, some people don't give a damn, and others, they're just not thinking, like I said, about the skills that you have in terms of crafting a joke, like you said, that Lizzo herself could laugh at. There's a way to do it.
Yeah, but you shouldn't actually have to. You
Okay.
know, that's the way the rule was. The rule of comedy is nothing is sacred, but now that's been obliterated because of the cancel culture. You know, your joke should, if it makes somebody laugh, then it's a good joke.
Hmm.
You know, but you have to play to your niche. You gotta read the room. So
Yeah.
if you have no consequences to your actions, you can say whatever the hell you want and keep doing what you do. If you have a strong enough fan base, like Joe Rogan, who has one of the number
Mm,
one podcasts, when he says some things that were derogatory or even racially insensitive, he's still on the air because he has a strong enough following. So,
yeah.
like you say, you bite off what you can chew. Don't write a check that it's a bunch of cliches that go into that.
Right. Right.
And that's
Right.
where we are today. What are your circumstances? Who are you beholden to as a comedian? So it's not about whether or not you're funny or not. It's now about whether your career can survive you being authentic to what you feel is funny.
Yeah. I'm going to come to you, Khameron, on your thoughts on this. And if we do have comments from folks that are watching and listening, we'd love to hear from you as well. What do you think? Is it too difficult there? Michael Stallworth, if I'm Aries, I would not be commenting about Lizzo. As for Chris, it's a tad curious how mainstream media is so offended by his recent joke. They thought it was a joke back in March, but not now, huh? And that's just the way public opinion sways back
Yeah,
and forth too.
yeah,
Yeah, and it's
um
not his first time cracking on Nicole because when he had a special where he said about
right.
OJ killing her, he's like, I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand.
Yeah,
You know, so
that was, and that
and that was a well crafted joke because he talked about her driving around in his Ferrari and seeing her having sex through the window in the house he was paying for, blah 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 blah. So
mm,
all of these things play and lead up to the joke, Khameron, and you as one who appreciates a good joke, what do you think about
clearly,
this?
uh, I, I think Damon's right. Like, Lizzo, her career is predicated off of changing the culture of body image,
Hmm.
and so putting herself out there and being resistant against these type of attacks. This is really nothing new for her.
Right.
So I think that there's a deeper conversation about a black man remarking on a black woman's body that really needs to be had here.
Hmm.
Um, because like Damon said, the Joe Rogans of the world and Alex Jones got his, but there are other commentators of the world who openly remark upon women of a much younger variety who aren't nearly getting as much of the press drag that black folks get. Now, part of me, of course, wants to see black people stand together no matter what.
Right.
But also, to Damon's point, like I think that black people should have this culture of being able to take swipes at one another and just laughing it off, because we're all in this industry together at the end of the day. As far as Chris Rock is concerned, like I enjoyed the fact that he's kind of like steeled himself against like public opinion no matter what. I don't know, Damon, if you can confirm this, but we know that comedy is in a state of flux, and that there are a few camps, right, where people think that comedians should be able to say whatever they want, point blank, period. And then there are others like yourself who are sticking to the techniques of how to craft a joke so that you can leverage your joke with the same content in any situation. So when I saw Chris Rock, hanging out with Dave, hanging out with Kevin, I think that he has kind of like tiptoed in the camp of, I'm just gonna say whatever the hell I want now.
Yeah, and then it depends on who's saying what about whom, because if you look at the Ari Spears situation, as you say, it's a black man, attacking a black woman, so to speak. But Monique was able to talk about skinny women, and nobody was mad. You know what I mean? She called them evil and evil bees and nasty thises and that's and that, and everybody laughed because she's big. So you know what I mean. Now, if a skinny comic was to say fat women are evil, they'd stone her in the town square. So it's a matter of position of who you are and how you are. Now, Ari Spears, to his credit, did say, "Look at me, I'm one to talk," because look at him. But between the raccoon eyes and that belly, he could let that ride. But Aries is in a point in his career too where he was really kind of on a trajectory to be a superstar, and then it kind of fell off. He kind of self-destructed himself, and I've dealt with him on many different occasions. He's still my guy, but he has a darker side, and it's almost like, I don't want to diagnose him, but it's like a bipolar scenario. So it's a comedian making a quip. It's not like he went on stage and spent the hour talking about fat women and excuse the term. And things of that nature. So let's lighten up, people. Even Lizzo should lighten up.
Well, and her and her boyfriend is a comedian. Wow. Valerie Barr, Yolanda, can you have us with that YouTube? Ari shouldn't have said it that way, and Chris was really out of touch with the effects of those murders. Very sad. I think that just from my conversations with other women, there are a lot of women who do think that Chris is very misogynistic, and he used a guy, who and used it that way. A lot of women didn't like his movie that he did, regarding our hair, good hair. A lot of women didn't like the joke against Jada, and now he's continuing using other women as butts of his jokes from their perspective. And so it's so we're so sensitive these days.
That's a mistake in this business, because women are 75 to 60 to 70% of every comedy room is women.
Yeah.
So you do that if you want to, and well, go ahead. I know you got a comment.
No, Paja says that there are a million OJ jokes out there and Chris will be okay. David Psyched on YouTube says the Brown family probably wants to slap Chris Rock. So after, so say, well, we got this and then go on. So you were saying, Damon, about the great majority of those buying tickets to the comedy clubs and shows.
Yeah. I mean, it's not a smart idea, especially if you're a black comedian, to piss off black women, because that's our main support. I mean, for R&B and comedy, if there weren't for women, because you never see a group of guys saying, "Hey man, let's go down here and see dude," but you'll see a group of women saying, "First we're gonna go to dinner, we have some drinks, we're gonna go to a comedy show, blah blah blah." And it's either women in groups or women with their mates, and the guys that have come out are basically there because the woman wanted to go. So I'm not saying that we don't have any male fans, but they don't really support the way women do. So it would behoove both of them to stand down. And that's where you got to think about it. I mean, some jokes are just not for the public. If you got something you want to say, crack that joke with your friends, but if you're in a public forum, you got to watch yourself just a little bit.
Monica Adams on Facebook says comedians' jokes aren't always tasteful, but I guarantee you they make somebody laugh. And That's
my point.
That's
Yeah.
the truth. That's it. That's what you're saying. And to Paja, it wasn't an OJ joke. That was not an OJ joke. That was a
Right.
joke at the expense of Nicole Brown Simpson.
Right.
And so I
Exactly.
think that makes the difference there.
Who is a mother who has children, that hear these things, and nobody wants to hear jokes about their mother that was brutally murdered. So,
Right.
if you take a step to filter yourself, because Chris is a smart individual. That wasn't like a random
Just
blurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. He thought of that. He had that response in the chamber already for sure.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for participating. I always love having these conversations with you guys, and especially when it comes to something like this. But it's a conversation that keeps going because of where we are in this world today.
And thank God for that, because even the controversy sells. We're talking about it.
There you go. It's time to talk trending topics. And speaking of controversy selling, Damon, where are you going to be? What do you have coming up?
Oh, what a crazy week ahead. First of all, Tim Hardaway, NBA legend, who's being inducted to the Hall of Fame and having his numbers retired and things around the city of Chicago. We're doing something with the support group this Thursday. We're doing a little salute and a roast to him down at the Sonesta Hotel Thursday. Then this Sunday, I'm doing the Chicago Comedy Kings, which is the promoter called it that because I don't like being in shows like that. Plus, I got a little note from Walter Latham of Kings of Comedy's wife, who says that's infringement, but they cool with it. It's me, Michael Collier, George Wilborn, Leon Rogers, and Rodney Perry in Tinley Park. But also, simultaneously, I am hosting the African American Arts Festival in Washington Park this weekend, which is the 1st through 5th or 2nd through 5th. So I'm all over the place this weekend.
I'll say, my God, you're laboring on Labor Day weekend.
Yeah.
Hey, that's what it's for. It's for the labor movement. It's not about mattress sales.
Right. Absolutely. Khameron, what's the latest with you?
I got a bit of funding to produce my first short film. It's going to be called Coronary Artery. It's going to be a documentary about the public health crisis that is the Red Line of Chicago. Folks who've been watching the show for a while know that I've been taking public transit for a while, and I have.
And you have some adventures.
Yeah, and I've seen countless things, and so I just decided to write about it. So that will be. We're in pre-production now. That will be premiering next fall, so stay tuned for that. I did get a commissioned stage reading of it at Perceptions Theater, so that will be premiering in November. So I've got a meeting with them this weekend to talk about the logistics. And then, of course, I'm still in the running for Definition Theater's Amplify series. They just released the virtual component. They're calling it Encore.
Okay.
So those of y'all who want to support, all you have to do is just go to definitiontheater.org and then make sure that you click on the Encore button, get your free virtual ticket, and then I'm third in the lineup. So but there are also just a number of great pieces that you should support.
All of them we should if we can. Yeah.
Definition. But it's good to know that you're third in case we can't.
Right. And do we vote, Khameron?
Yeah. So after you reserve your ticket, they will send you a survey to your email address. So please give them a valid email address. Please do not give them, bigbootyShaker@gmail.com. Like, please give them a valid email.
Is that your club email address?
Right.
I remember women used to have club names, so they go out to the club. That's that's your cyber alias.
Your avatar.
I actually do have a club hopping alias.
Of
course you do.
Yes, his name is Leo. He's a photographer from the UK.
From the UK.
From the UK.
Yes, from the UK. And people ask me, well, where in the UK? And then I say, London.
Brixton. Tell him Brixton.
Brixton.
Yeah, tell you from Bridgerton.
and then watch them go, oh yeah. Oh, okay.
I've seen that show. Wow. That's hilarious. All right. So, Damon, how can people get information about all the events you have coming up?
Just go to my Instagram. That's the best way to keep up with all the stuff I do. Of course, if we're on Facebook Live here, so we should say Facebook as well. But it's all DamonWilliamsComedy.com will lead you to all my little links. But I'm constantly on social media. My wife and I did a pretty funny video yesterday. If you want to get a chance, go to Damon Williams Comedy and check that out.
Okay, absolutely, absolutely. Tell me, you guys watched Serena last night. Anybody watch Serena and what they thought was going to be her last hurrah at the U.S. Open?
I wish I had a chance to see it. I did not, but I've seen clips from.
Yeah. Oh, it was really quite special. I am so jealous of my friends who were there. Hello, Jackie Reed, amongst others. Rochelle Riley from Detroit. Did you get a chance to watch it, Khameron?
I did not get a chance to watch it. But Serena is the greatest athlete of all time, bar none.
Yeah, it was really quite special. There was a lot of celebration surrounding what could have been her last performance there at the U.S. Open. She was dressed incredibly. I don't know what people are planning to buy me for Christmas or for my next birthday, but those diamond-studded Serena Williams SW tennis shoes, size 10. Just saying. She also had 6 layers of the ballet skirt that she wears on the court. She said she had to remove 4 of the layers, and the 6 were for the U.S. Open wins. She had to remove 4 of them because it was too heavy to move around the court in. And she said,
that's the heavy part.
She said she had enough to move around. She said she had enough to move around. She beat you to the joke, right?
Right. You know what I like to say, that wagon she dragging.
Right. A lot of people, Oprah did a tribute to her from all of us. Queen Latifah did a tribute that they played in the stadium. Gayle King was there on site for the after match conversation, and Billie Jean King and others were there. But it was really great to see her little girl there with her dad, and her talking about the fact that, this is not a retirement, it's an evolution, and she will play tomorrow, guys. The second round, she will play on Wednesday from the Arthur Ashe Stadium. It was really cool.
And I really regret the fact that I missed that, because this is history in the making, and you want to see it in real time. So I will be making room for that to happen tomorrow. Do you know what time exactly?
I don't have the exact time, but I do know that it started yesterday. It will be prime time, I'm pretty sure, Damon. And so yesterday it started at 6:00 Central. So we were doing the show as it was starting, but I saw most of the.
All that was happening during your podcast. That's the part. She intimidates her opponents with that primary.
Oh my God.
Growl.
And it was so incredible, Damon, that everybody, to a person, there to support Serena, with the exception of her opponent's family and friends, a small group there, and everybody applauding the mistakes that this child made against, but she held her own. She did okay. But Serena, as I said, she won the match and will live to play another day.
And that young lady can go on to say she lost to Serena in her diamond shoes.
Yeah.
And that's a memory that will never be taken away.
Exactly. Mikhail Gorbachev has died. He's the final Soviet leader, died at the age of 92. He was the last man to lead the Soviet Union. Now we call it Russia. But he opened up, he brought down that wall, as President Ronald Reagan encouraged him to do, ending the Cold War. And to a lot of people, it ruined what they had built up over these centuries in the Soviet Union, and kind of opening it up to make it a little bit more equal in terms of things. But he got a lot of pushback from his own his own country. As a matter of fact, they pushed him out, and when he tried to come back, he lost an election. But he was named Time Magazine's Man of the Decade at the close of the 1980s for bringing peace to Eastern Europe, and the Berlin Wall coming down and all of the things that followed. I don't know that Putin could ever follow that, but here we are now with Putin leading Russia and Mikhail Gorbachev, 92, the last leader of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, and I wish there were emails or social media back then, so I could have just sent him a note saying, if you get just a little ambi, you can get that.
He was known for that strawberry.
Yeah, it's just a little ambi. I know they didn't use that in other communities, but we all know there's some cream called ambi. You could have just.
When you're over here next time, just stop at Duane Reade and pick up.
Yeah, no, you gotta go to the beauty supply now. You gotta go to the beauty supply. Right. Get a little ambi skin cream. You get that little dot off your head, man.
You are so silly.
I am always,
and I love it. But have you guys seen that the state of New York, although this law has been in effect for about a year or so now, New York stores are beginning to enforce the ban of whipped cream canisters to those under the age of 21. Whipped cream. You know that stuff.
Yep.
Identification checks. Thank you. For more retailers began to enforce this. The law was passed amid concern that teenagers were increasingly getting high by inhaling the nitrous oxide that is used as a propellant in the canisters. Nitrous oxide is laughing gas, and it gets you high. And so it also can do a lot of damage to young people. And so for those who are breaking the law, there are fines that come with it. And anyone who sells it to someone under the age of 21 will get a $250 fine the first time, and then fines up to $500 for subsequent violations. So check this out. Laughing gas is an anesthetic. People know this when they go to the dentist. They get some nitrous oxide that can be inhaled by discharging the cartridges known as whippets. You've heard that terminology, perhaps. According to the Alcohol and Drug Foundation, in addition to the euphoria that comes with laughing gas, the drug can also cause a loss of blood pressure, fainting, heart attacks, and sudden death. Potential long-term effects for people who get this nitrous oxide on the regular through the whipped cream cans can cause memory loss and psychosis. That's intense.
It's a lot. They call that huffing. Yeah, but that's very interesting because now there could be no more 18-year-old freak parties with
not unless your big brother goes out and gets it for you. Yeah.
Now you got to be on the side of the liquor store or the grocery store like, hey brother, could you give me some of that Ready Whip, man? Hey, what you gonna do with some Ready Whip? No, I'm not huffing.
I'm about to make a pie.
Yeah. I'm about to go toss a salad. This has nothing to do with the nitrous. I just don't like to toss salads without the cream on top.
If you know what I'm saying.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Yes.
I don't know why this minor sounds like an old character. Yeah, my brother. Listen, I know I'm only 16, but I like to toss salads. But I don't toss a salad without the Ready Whip. That's just nasty. I need the Ready Whip.
Oh, dear God.
Nobody wants a plain tossed salad. You need the plain. Yes, I'm 16. Quit asking me that. My point is,
sir, you don't look or sound 16, but okay.
I don't. And 16-year-olds don't normally toss salads. I am accepting it. That's what I'm trying to tell you. But the man is trying to hold me down with this ID law. But I just want to toss my salad in peace. You say I'm 16. Yes, I'm 16. I don't even know why I keep doing my hands like this, but it goes with the voice. Listen.
It all works together in this
Say,
character
man,
you have
run in there,
created.
grab me some Ready Whip because I don't like a plain salad.
Okay. Damon,
Yes.
you have successfully brought me to my crying knees, and not many men can say that. So
Hey.
we're gonna end the topical talk right now, and we will move to entertainment. Damon, I saved this for you because you are a fan of popcorn, and country music giant star Luke Bryan has announced that he is dropping a limited edition popcorn he helped harvest on his farm. He, like you, Damon Williams, calls popcorn his favorite snack.
Yes, popcorn is delicious and nutritious. And what people don't know, because somebody argued me this and they were a fitness person, is popcorn is high in fiber. It's a great source of fiber if you don't put all that fake butter on it. But eating popcorn without the fake butter is kind of like tossing a plain salad.
Chica,
who would do that? Yay, Luke, with the popcorn. Tell us about it.
Yes, thank you. This is with the help of the Tennessee-based Merit Popcorn. Boldly grown popcorn shares roots with place close to the country singer's heart. He says, grown on his farm, this corn is. And in the video that he's presenting this, and you know who Luke Bryan is? He's one of the judges on American Idol. Okay, so he says he plays the guitar in front of his tractor as he details how the snack idea came to be. He said, we planted, we waited, we harvested, and we popped. And that was it. There was no other conversation about any other food group that was involved in the making of this. But it is available in bold butter and what he calls chart top and churro. The popcorn options fit any craving, be it sweet or savory. So
nice.
If I find some, Damon, I'm going to send it to you.
I'd appreciate it. And somebody needs to tell Luke that he didn't think of that.
Right.
Yeah, everybody's been growing and harvesting and popping corn.
But it's Luke Bryan popcorn now.
How about that?
That makes all the big difference in the world.
Those corns have been sung to into their sweet ears. The soothing country music of Luke Bryan has been sung into the sweet ears of corn, creating the Luke Bryan bold butter popcorn. Now available.
That's right. Damon, if you had a popcorn brand, what would you call it?
Oh, that's a good one.
I just call it I don't know. That's a good one, Sybil.
Yeah.
What would I
want you to consider because
I will.
You got something.
I'm gonna call it what's poppin' popcorn. Come get what's poppin'.
Hey. Okay.
Hey,
all
what's poppin'? Yeah.
And also get well wishes to Brian Robinson. This is the Washington Commanders football player, the rookie that was shot over the weekend. He was back at training camp. Wow. 2 days after, and all smiles at the team facility. He was shot in the groin as well as in his leg, in his right knee, and needed crutches to get around. He had the bullets removed, and this was as someone was trying to rob him Sunday afternoon. On a really, from what Huggy and Chris said, a really busy, gentrified area of town of Washington, D.C. And he came prepared. He brought Oreos to fulfill his rookie duties of getting snacks for the running back room, which is a part of the whole process when you're the new kid on the block. And so he's up and showing them, he's going to work to make this happen. He was selected by the Commanders, and he's had a chance to show what he can do on the field, but he's going to show what he's made of by coming back so quickly, perhaps. And the doctor said, yeah, you can go back and you can do this. So that's awesome. That's really awesome.
But that also bodes poorly for anybody who got cut from the team if he makes it. Now, this boy got shot.
What's a brother got to do?
His father gonna be like, what is your excuse? That boy got shot. He went right back with the Oreos. You on the couch. Get your butt out there
and
and
get
do some
moving.
wind sprints.
We're going to close out with our daily inspiration, Yogi's Jewel. Consider practicing the laws of detachment by allowing yourself to be who you are. Well, you guys are a couple of great guys, and I hope that you will continue to be who you are for as long as you possibly can. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Thank you. And as my father would like to say, may you live as long as you want to, and want to as long as you live.
Amen. Amen. That's right.